Hello everyone, today we are going to study the chapter Motion of the Earth. The Earth has two types of motions, namely rotation and revolution. Rotation is the movement of the Earth on its axis, and the movement of the Earth around the Sun in a fixed path or orbit is known as revolution. So now let's learn more deeply about both the motions. Let's start with revolution.
Every year, we all eagerly wait for our birthdays. But have you ever thought about why a year has to be so long? Why do we have to wait for 365 days until our next birthday comes along? A year is 365 days long, because that's about how long it takes for the Earth to complete one full revolution around the Sun. Let's understand what does it means. You already know that the Earth is not stationary. It rotates or spins around its own axis. As it spins, it also moves in another way. It's revolves around the Sun in an elliptical orbit. One full revolution around the Sun takes exactly 365 and 1/4 days. For the sake of convenience, we ignore the quarter day, which is 6 hours, and think of a year as having 365 days. Over 4 years, the remaining 6 hours add up to 24 hours, or one full day. This day is added to the calendar every 4 years. This is why every fourth year is a leap year, or in another term we can say a leap year comes every 4 years. The extra day in a leap year is formed by adding up the quarter days or 6 hours over 4 years. So much for the number of days. But what about the season on our planet Earth? Does revolution affect the seasons too? It does, indeed. If you look carefully, the Earth is inclined in the same direction throughout its orbit. This tilt and the revolution is the reason that we have the different seasons in different parts of the Earth. Let's see how that happens. On June 21st, the position of the Earth as seen here. Try and identify the areas that receive most of the sunlight due to the tilt. As you can see, the North Pole is tilted towards the Sun. You will recognize this area as Tropic of Cancer. This area received direct sunrise, and as a result, it is summer in the northern hemisphere. This position of the Earth is called the summer solstice. sunlight in these areas at its maximum during this time of the year, and hence we have long days and short nights. In fact, the areas beyond the Arctic region have daylight for 6 months at a stretch. The reverse happens in southern hemisphere. With less sunlight, the days are shorter and the nights are longer. Now let's follow the Earth orbit. The Earth seems to have reached another turning point. The date is December 22nd. This is when the Earth reaches the other end of its orbit. The North Pole is facing away from the Sun. This position of the Earth is known as the winter solstice. This time, the South Pole is tilted toward the Sun. This area is Tropic of Capricorn, which receives direct sunlight from the Sun, and hence it's summer in the southern hemisphere. As you can guess, the northern hemisphere has less sunlight during this time.
In its orbit, there are times when neither of the Earth poles is inclined towards the Sun. Thus, on two occasions, March 21st and September 23rd, sunlight falls directly on the equator. This position of the Earth is called an equinox. On these days, the day and the night are of equal durations on the Earth. On September 23rd, it is autumn season in the northern hemisphere and spring in southern hemisphere. The opposite is in the case on March 21st, when it is spring in the northern hemisphere and autumn in the southern hemisphere.